Well, hello there, Space Monkeys. Welcome to Political Fight Club. I'm your host, Robert Durden, and this episode is some good news and bad news for climate justice. This is from Common Dreams. The Dutch have, one of the higher-up courts in the Netherlands has ruled that the Royal Dutch Shell Company, which is just Shell, the big gas company, has to reduce their carbon emissions by 45% by 2030. And I'm going to read to you exactly what happened. Climate campaigners worldwide are celebrating after a Dutch court on Wednesday ordered fossil fuel giant Royal Dutch Shell to cut its carbon emissions 45% by 2030, compared with 2019 levels. A historic ruling that activists hope is just the beginning of holding the oil and gas industry accountable for driving climate emergency. Quote, "This is a landslide victory for climate justice," said Sarah Shaw of FOEI, which is the Friends of Earth International. "Our hope is that this verdict will trigger a wave of climate litigation against big polluters to force them to stop extracting and burning fossil fuels. This result is a win for communities in the global south who face devastating climate impacts now." End quote. The first of its kind ruling, which Shell told the Wall Street Journal it expects to appeal, came from the district court in The Hague and is a result of legal action brought by Friends of the Earth Netherlands, the Milieufonds, along with over 17,000 individuals and 6 other organizations. So this is great. I want to absolutely applaud them. They did a great job, and I really do hope that it turns out that this is like the first pebble you throw in the water and there's a ripple effect out. I really hope that that's the case. Do I think that that's the case? No, I don't think. I think that probably Shell will appeal, and they might win. But it is good. You know, it's possibly the first domino, because if you get a win like this, sometimes you have other litigation that goes after ExxonMobil and other, big gas companies, and you can get them all to reduce their, fossil fuel emissions, which would be great. Now, the problem is that like almost all other green energy legislation and wins that we get on the front of climate change, this is not nearly enough. Even if I granted that every single one of the gas companies all were slapped with something like this and they all lost their appeals and this actually happened across the board, it's still not enough. It's not even close to enough. So it's such, like I said, I think there will be a ripple, or there might be a ripple effect. I doubt it. But even if it is, the pebble that we just threw in is so little. I don't think you can go through small victories like this to actually affecting big change in enough time. You have to actually legislate against these huge companies, which means you have to have your government put them in check. These things are a drop in the bucket of awful, and it's not going to actually, I don't think it's going to work, unfortunately. I think that Shell will probably appeal and emerge victorious. But I don't want to poo-poo that it's a victory. It absolutely is a victory, and I hope to God it gains momentum and that we can actually run with this as precedent and get a lot of the other oil companies to, agree to do the same thing. Because, I'll take a baby step forward rather than treading water where we are going backwards. If we're going to take steps forward, I'll take them no matter how small they are. So, I don't have high hopes for this. But, I like to give credit where credit's due, and, it wouldn't have happened here in the U.S. It had to happen in, the Netherlands, where they actually have, reasonable court systems. Here, all the judges are bought and paid for by the oil industry and all the other, huge industries in this country. The, big, wealthy business interests that own everything. They got all the courts in their pocket, so this would never happen in America. So I worry that even if it does proliferate, we can't expect anything like this in America. It just doesn't happen. So the best that we can do is try to push something like the Green New Deal kind of piecemealed together over the next couple of years and just hope to God that we're not dooming our grandkids to a life of, Mad Max-style dystopia. Because that's what we're on pace for. And by the way, you guys, all this does is it makes, Shell adhere to the guidelines of the Paris Climate Accord, which is avoiding going 1.5 degrees Celsius over pre-industrial levels by 2100. Now, most scientists agree that you can't go to 2100, you can't even go to 2050, you can't even go to 2040. You have to avoid pre-industrial levels by 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2030. So, like I said, even if it were to bring all of these gas companies to the standards of the Paris Climate Accord, we'd still be 70 years behind schedule. So, but it is a little victory, you know. I don't want to, you know, take anything away from the lawyers that worked very hard to win this, and, you know, I hope for the best for this type of litigation in the future. So keep fighting the good fight out there, guys. I'll see you later.